you check the children?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Howdy folks, welcome back to the Horror Show. I'm Robert the Wolfman.
And you got Jaime and Fuego here for a Fresca, a new review here on the Horror Show. And this is one that we were initially thinking that it was going to be like a roundup selection, but it has so much chatter going amongst the community that Cecil, the founder of the feast, deemed it important for us to review this separately. He watched it, he's not sitting in on this one, and I'm kind of standing in to kind of have his sentiments because we were both big fans of a Garth Ennis comic called Crossed, which was sequelized and has been a very notorious IP in the comic community, Avatar Comic Press, if I remember correctly, for a while. But yeah, the film is entitled The Sadness, and we mentioned Cross the comic because it is essentially a Taiwanese version in just about every way of that comic book. And it's already gained a notoriety within the horror community, but
Yeah.
I think it's...
I can see its appeal, but just on the and that's the thing. It's like I don't want to use the word depravity like they've been thrown around because
it's there.
It's
you know,
there, but I've seen worse. Like I don't know.
I think your aspect of desensitization as a viewer
absolutely.
really plays into it, because when I watched it with Catherine, she walked out of the room a few times because she was grossed out by
there's
some of the stuff
there's
that
definitely some
transpires.
scenes where you're just like, okay, that's a little too.
There were two in
that's
particular
a
for her.
little fucked up.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll just start up real quick on
Overall
overall thoughts. It was okay. I liked it, but I didn't love it.
Same.
A couple of issues, especially with the thin story part, there wasn't really a whole lot to grasp onto. They did make this movie quite politicized. It was in a sense of if the flu gave everybody the crazies virus. That's pretty much how this was.
Yep, little 28 Days Later thrown in there along with the Romero, but yeah, so it's not like full-on zombie. It is a rage virus.
Yeah, and those I appreciate those. I liked the 28 Days Later movies. I had a lot of fun with those.
I love the remake of The Crazies. Romero's version is good, but the remake with Timothy Olyphant is really good, man.
Yep.
It's one of those remakes that might even surpass the original. For overall thoughts from me, I will definitely give them mad credit for getting gory with both what is shown and what is implied, and just the excessive spraying of blood. The screen capture that everybody has seen in the promotional materials is on the subway with the sunglasses and the cutting. That's what they've been using for most of the promotion for this film, and whether it's reviews or other things of that nature. So I'm going to echo your sentiments though, man. I didn't really feel like it didn't feel very original to me at all.
It
and that was my
cherry-picked a lot of
biggest
different
issue
things.
with it. Yeah. So I did enjoy it, and from also getting horror from a different area of the world. But the odd thing about this is that Rob, the director, he's a Canadian filmmaker, and yet he's making this film which is in I believe it's in Mandarin, because
it's Taiwanese.
It's Taiwan.
It's set in Taiwan.
And so they speak Mandarin Chinese over there, and so it's odd that you have this French-Canadian filmmaker who is over in Taiwan, because that's presumably where he was able to, find producing money and, backers and whatnot. So from a visual standpoint, I appreciated it, but from the storytelling standpoint, that's where I was just not particularly impressed, because it was too familiar.
Yeah. And so real quick, just touching up on the story. So basically, the story of what we have, it's about this young couple trying to survive through the city after this rage outbreak. Basically makes everybody go crazy and
they are separated. He drops her off at work, and then he goes home, and their separation happens right as the onslaught is transpiring.
Again, there wasn't a whole lot really to the movie. It was just them getting back to each other amidst their own struggles trying to survive through all these psychos and whatever, this disease that's running rampant through the city. Yeah,
and not a lot of character development, honestly.
No, not at all.
I mean, it's just she's at work, then she's on a subway, and he's on his moped, and there's some people who run at him, and then his neighbor's infected, and so it was just, once again, so many beats that we've seen before. like the amount of the effort for this film was most definitely put into the practical blood and gore, and that was going to be the selling point.
That's where this movie shined. So honestly, we might as well just jump.
I think we should jump to that. You know,
yeah,
even,
just jump
even
over
before
to the effects
acting, we can round back to the acting. Yeah,
absolutely. The effects in this movie were great.
Yeah.
The blood splatter that we got,
buckets of blood.
Buckets of blood. Like they should have gotten some Slayer to do some songs for this.
I'm thinking of the song from
Raining Blood?
the song from the Dracula 2000 soundtrack.
Bloodline.
Yeah, where they're just covered in blood playing.
Yeah, that was a good song.
Free your mind.
Yeah, that was a good song.
Anyway, don't want to get copyrighted.
No, like everything looked great. There was a lot of times where I actually kind of got cringed with it.
There's one blood orgy. Blood orgy.
Yeah,
of the
where I'm just like
Woodland Critter Christmas episode.
I'm just like, okay, whatever floats your boat. You know, I'm not much of a Shark Week kind of guy, but you know, whatever.
And that's the one thing that, you know, when we gave the briefest of the story, and just one little bit, I guess, that maybe we didn't mention is that, like, it's not just a rage virus, it just invokes the most depraved, you know, the word that you utilized earlier. So it's not just like murderousness. There is also a very carnal, sexual aspect to
it makes
the
you,
inhibition, so
it
to
makes
speak.
you act on everything that you would not do in normal day-to-day life.
And so if you're used to zombies just chomping on people, nope, this is where, like, the pseudo stand-in zombie rage infected people. There's some there's
assaults.
There's some sexual assault.
We'll
Very graphic
we'll
variety.
just leave it at that.
Yep.
I don't want to get this taken down. Yeah, that was the one scene where it's like, okay, how far are you guys gonna go with this? And like, part of me was like, I'm kind of glad that they cut away because
Same.
I wouldn't that would not have been cool to watch.
And that's where and the thing that made that scene especially so much more messed up is because, unlike some other rage virus stuff that we have seen, there is still enough of a cognizance.
Oh
where
yeah,
they can talk.
it's the consciousness. They know what they're doing.
Yes.
But it's like they don't give a shit.
Yep. All inhibitions have been, switch has been flicked, man. And so, blood orgy and all kinds of other nastiness.
What about you for the effects?
I was impressed, you know. It definitely did not shy away from its selling point, and that's where, you know, I've seen gorier things. I mean, probably Dead Alive, it still is, you know, brain dead in a lot of other territories besides the U.S. is probably the goriest, craziest film that I've seen. Although that's more on the comedic side, and this one played it relatively straight horror. Yeah, it's not trying to be like a humor-filled black comedy sort of thing. It's not of the Evil Dead 2, Army of Darkness, Dead Alive sort of territory. Once again, it was very obvious that was their selling point with this, was going to be the gore and the practical effects and the buckets of blood. And I would say that they definitely delivered in that department. I will give them that.
Certain regions and obviously certain people are going to find this movie repulsive. I'm not gonna there's no doubt about that, but I guess I've been just desensitized so much of years of horror movies and everything like that, and like foreign horror movies. I've seen way more screwed up stuff than this. Like we were even talking about some of them earlier. Is like take like Irreversible for example. That's legit like a one and done watch.
Even some of the stuff in the Saw films and Hostel and some of the torture porn subgenre, I feel like...
See, I've never really been into those.
I'm not into them either, but I've watched them all, you know? And so I think even those maybe push the envelope a little bit more so that it's really... It's the sexual side of things here that I think is really going to be the most off-putting for people.
Yep. No, absolutely, because, there's, like...
It's a lot more taboo than just killing somebody, you know? Slicing them up, chomping them up, whatever the hell.
Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah. And as far as acting goes, to circle back to that, dude, you know, I liked our leads, you know, our estranged couple. I thought they were very serviceable. They weren't bad in any degree.
No, they had a cute little chemistry to them and everything like that. You could definitely tell, like,
especially the early morning wake up and their cuteness, and then, you know, bickering about, you know, the aspects of both of their jobs and how they don't you know, correlate all too often. But everybody else, from even like the military guys that we had, they felt very just one note and kind of underdeveloped. But I guess even if the acting wasn't bad, I guess, you know, it was the fact that the writing didn't really try to develop these characters. It was more so about the setting, the situation, and all of that practical gore. So.
And sometimes that can work for your film, but it's few and far between, more so than not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, one of the most effective acting scenes, now that I think about it, though, was this old guy who is on the train with the girlfriend of our other lead.
Oh,
that guy actually
the guy with
was
the umbrella.
That guy was probably he was the
played,
best performance in the film.
He played
I
his
think.
crazy part
Yeah.
really well.
Yeah.
I will give him that.
He's the only one who has an arc because he starts out one way and then things kind of shift into something
But at
else.
the same time,
but it was
though,
only a
like-
magnification of the character flaws that were already there.
Exactly, because he was already a creep as it is. So
Yeah, she's just reading the book on the train, and he just won't leave her alone. And
Yeah.
that's why my girlfriend doesn't take public transportation, because she's like, yeah, people just try to talk to me, and I don't want to talk to them. So, yeah.
It's called a 9mm high five. Honestly, I think that's probably gonna do it for this review of The Sadness.
Yeah.
Like, again, we liked it. We didn't love it. There wasn't anything groundbreaking or new that they did with this film. It felt like a lot of cherry picks from different comics, different movies. I don't know.
And I think that's
it could have been more. It really could have been more.
amen to that. And I think that a lot of people who don't have experience in the cross comic books or haven't seen the Crazies or 28 Days Later or some of these things where they derived inspiration, I would imagine that you will have a banging time with this.
Oh yeah, you're gonna think
it's
this movie is so
groundbreakingly
fucked up
grotesque.
and- yeah.
It was good, but definitely not worthy of, in my estimation, all the hype that a lot of people in the community are heaping upon
and
it.
I think that's the problem too with a lot of these movies nowadays. It's like they're just overhyped. And hell, even take the Texas Chainsaw movie that recently came out on Netflix. We got a little overhyped and it was a little lackluster at the end.
And in some cases, those who were shitting on it underhyped it, and then people go watch and they're like, "Yeah, that's not that bad."
Yeah, yeah, and
it's
that's
the burden of expectation, as I always say in this goddamn
exactly.
channel. Goes both ways.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much gonna do it for us here at the Horror Show. All right, if you guys aren't subscribed yet, hit that button down below. Hit that notification bell to keep up all the good fancy videos that we put out every day.
No stuff. The like
Yes.
button, all that shizzle.
Follow us up on TikTok and everything like that. We have that. Should be down here in the description. If not, Cecil can put that in there.
Yeah, Cecil's been doing some fun stuff on the TikToks.
Yeah.
That's his realm. Robert and I are a little averse to the TikTokies.
Well, I've been helping Cecil with some filming lately and everything like that. So we recently just put up a new TikTok, which is actually hilarious, and it came out way too perfect.
Nice.
Yes.
Heck yeah. And if you guys want to become a patron, because we do have our own on Patreon feed, so if you would like to request a film for us to review or like a commentary, we also have a boogie box if you want to be awesome with your support and dedication and coolness. That would be rad status as well. But I guess until next time, Fright fans, I've been Jaime and Fuego.
Rob the Wolfman.
And until then, remember, stay scared.